we are tracking, and you're telling us protests are snowballing across different states. Now, Tamil Nadu is reporting protests. My colleague Pramod Madhav is in Chennai, and he's telling us about protests that are taking place there. Pramod, over to you now. Is this specifically the Chennai city? What are these protesters stating? Are they supporting the protesting girls in Karnataka? They want them to wear the headscarf and be allowed into the classrooms.
Well, this is a protest that is being held by Students Federation of India, and there you could see over there they are holding a protest in Chennai's Panagal Malike, one of the important locations, and their placards very clearly say, raise your voice for your choice. Hijab is our constitution right. That way they're actually supporting the students who are wearing hijab, and not just that, they are also condemning the Karnataka government over the instance. In fact, we have one of the activists with us. Can you please tell us what is this protest about here?
We are protesting. We, the Student Federation of India, is protesting here for giving solidarity to the Karnataka girls students who are protesting to uplift their fundamental right. Of course, hijab is their constitutional right. For me, education is my right and dress code is my choice. But the government is now being quiet. Why the government is not going there and seeing the chaos over there and increasing the religious consciousness among the students is very, very fascist view. And still the Karnataka High Court and government is keeping quiet, and still the chaos is continuing. It's very worst condition.
What do you have to say about the argument that inside the school, everyone have to follow the same uniform code, and outside they can show whatever religious identity they would like to? What you would like to say about that argument?
Personally, I would say why this has been erased now, presently. Because from decades ago, we used to follow our own traditions, our own cultural identities as students. I used to keep kumkum if I am following the Hindu religion. I used to keep hijab if I am following Christianity, Muslim. If I used to wear something else if I follow that particular religious. That is my fundamental right. But why now it is getting a problematic one? I don't understand that point. Personally, I used to say, as a student, I have holistic right to follow as my own religion. That doesn't mingle with my educational right. Why don't I drop my education right due to following a certain dress code? That is my basic question over here. And when it comes to a girl student, attacking their identity, attacking their dress code is very, very gender discriminative perspective, I suppose. So I mean that is their right. Of course, we need uniform. Uniform dress code is, of course, obviously, Kerala has set a trend, which is abolishing the gender.
Do you also believe that wearing hijab is a constitutional right protected by the constitution?
Yeah, of course, because if you say that religious consciousness is fundamental right and right to choice is my fundamental right, why don't hijab is my fundamental right? It is. I feel that it is my right. And I suppose that my choice and my right is ensured by the constitution. Today, the constitution is questionable.
Right. So like here, that's the protest over here. This is Students Federation of India who are holding this protest at Panagal Malike. They claim that they are supporting the the right to wear the hijab. They call it as a constitutional right, and they're also stating that the Muslim community is marginalized, and why this issue is becoming big currently is a question that is also being put forward by the protest at this location.
Pramod Madhav, take a look at these two visuals on your screen. In Delhi, there is this violent face-off taking place between the police and the protesters. Most of them now detained. They have now been taken to the nearest police station. They were protesting outside the Karnataka Bhavan. Heavy police deployment. Unlike Delhi, in Chennai, in Tamil Nadu, there are also protests, but with music and dance. This is the SFI group. Largely, the leftist groups have now jumped in, and they are supporting the protesting girls in Karnataka. They are saying they must be allowed to wear the hijab, the headscarf. They must be allowed to enter into the classrooms, and Pramod Madhav getting us those voices as well. All of this, remember, while the campus front of India is now constantly being brought in, and how they have now met the girl who had taken on those saffron scarf students who were heckling her on February 8, just about 2 days ago. So a full-blown political showdown. The question that must be asked, while the girls are protesting what they feel they must not feel injustice about, are these students being used as political pawns for a larger issue, and the students are, in their naivety, caught between two different political sides? Remember, students now confronting each other over religious matters when they have exams coming up in the next 2 months. And this, while remember these protests are on, Pramod Madhav, I want to come across to you. A little different from the Delhi protest where immediately they were detained, immediately they were not given any time to speak also to most of the media persons deployed there, heavy police deployment in Delhi. But in Chennai, I can see they are taking out these protests and drums and music. What are they saying? Please go across to other voices as well there in the group to listen in what they are saying.
Absolutely, this is a protest that, like I said, is mentioned, it's in Chennai, Panagal Malikai, and here, if I could read the placards that have been, these students are holding.
All right, Pramod, I will just have to head into a quick commercial break, but please stay on with me because this is an issue that India today is staying live on constantly. We want to bring you the updates because this is not just about Karnataka High Court hearing, which we are constantly updating you about, or what the petitioners are stating, quoting earlier judgments, while the government's affidavit is that we need to have a proper uniform protocol. While that is happening in the court, protests on the streets across the country, and girls in Karnataka still not able to return to their schools and colleges. I'm heading into a very short break, leaving you with these visuals. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned to